Okay.
Hawkins, but here's what
Yeah, I need to find Wi-Fi. I didn't send it to you, but I didn't save it, so now it's trying to view it from his Google Docs.
Copy.
I can do the slideshow from that, but
The other thing is you could just use my computer and you can run your slideshow. You're just going forward, backwards.
what's that?
Are you just going forward, backwards?
Yeah.
Because you could just run it once. You could advance it and it would project.
I'm fine with that, except that if you're trying to monitor other people.
I mean, I would pop in and out, so it would be a little janky if you're changing out. Slide. I think they're trying to.
Hey, Bill. That's okay. I want everybody to know you're.
I always have my
Nice. Big one. I should have called to Sean. Those are first.
Yeah, other than big ones.
And I can come late. Just see what's going on.
Hey, what are the chances you know the password to the next? Okay, we're hunting for it, but trying to find someone who knows. Kieran is not here yet. We have everyone else. For the most part, we're scrambling because I kind of made it easy by not saving the PowerPoint up your Google Drive, so I'm just trying to connect to deal with. The sticker on the front of the box is incorrect, so there's that. I will figure it out.
Maybe.
If you have any Wi-Fi, it'll work. Just I just need to connect to something.
Okay, this is the password you want to use. 12468 Wi-Fi.
TR office.
And it's Wi-Fi.
Hey, this is Rob. I can see the screen.
All right. Roll call.
So go ahead and say it again, tell me when I'm.
Okay, the meeting's called to order. We'll call it at 9 o'clock. And we'll have roll call. Yeah. Tom,
Karen McBride.
Rob,
Here,
Ryan, here. Bill,
here.
and Dave is here. And Morgan.
All right, that means other than that, we've got Tom on and he's there. Okay. All right. What we're going to do, so that the people in the audience that show up, we're changing things around a little bit in that if you sign in, we're going to have the ability to speak right after the consent agenda is voted on, so you don't have to wait till the end of the meeting. And discussion topics could come up out of public comments, so we'll be able to take care of those in new business if we need to. So if you sign in and you want to speak, there'll be a list back there. Stacy will be able to check it here right after we do the consent agenda. We do have a quorum for today. Those are the announcements that I have at this time. If you have something to say during our comments, if you raise your hand, we can recognize you from here and you can answer. This isn't something that has to be killer rule sensitive. I would just like to get the meetings to move smoothly. I would like the meetings not to last 3 hours. So we'll go from there. So what we would end up with, we have the consent agenda. Now, to give you an update on that, and for those people who are attending via Zoom, the consent agenda, in my opinion, should have all of the information that anybody who is a member of the organization should be able to look at and understand what we're doing. So the consent agendas will carry reports, and Meg probably said it best several months ago where she said, hey, at least somebody who doesn't attend the meeting, they can go to the consent agenda, they can read about the stuff that has happened. The committee reports will be in there, the minutes will be in there, the financials will be in there. So all of the information that you would want to find is going to be in the consent agenda. Now, there will be committee reports that will come up and they will want to speak during the regular meeting, and that will be allowed for. But then again, there will be committee reports in which there won't be any report that month. A lot of things didn't happen, whatever. So they're going to just move on and they'll reports as a no report. And then maybe the next meeting they'll have a report. So what I need is,
Sorry.
is to have, is there any questions, update changes or anything to the minutes? That's you.
One change I need to make in last meeting's minutes was on the Easter egg hunt. Following the Easter egg hunt was going to be the adult raffle, and I wrote down there the adult raffle is going to be on Sunday. So that's the only minor change that I have put in for the minutes.
So the adult raffle's on Saturday.
The adult raffle followed the Easter egg hunt.
So
on Saturday.
raffling off adults on
Yep.
Saturday. Okay. Right. I won't go any further. One of the changes that I have is on the financial information, which comes up on this report, is that you could have to click on a link to go to it because there is an inordinate amount of information that we try to put out in the financials. So rather than to print it all out on a piece of paper or have you print it out, all you have to do is click on a link which is provided, and it takes you to all of the information Fieldstone provides to us for information. Now, at the end of the consent agenda and our first part of committee reports, Rob, the treasurer, will give us a quick update on what we have that's sort of just a look at immediate things that we would have questions about. or if somebody's questioned it before the meeting, then we will look at it then. So, financial information's been done. We have the committee reports that were listed. So are there any other changes? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion for approving the consent agenda. I love this. We got 6 people who don't wake up.
I make a motion to approve.
All right. Dave's made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. And just to keep everybody updated, we do a roll call vote on all votes. So roll call.
Tom. Morning. Morgan. Karen.
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Brian. Yes. Bill, yeah.
Okay. So now, the committee reports that we were looking for, or did I skip by here, guys? It should be, reports, because this is where we have Rob, can give us an update on financials.
Oh, so we're gonna go, there we go.
Rob, you there?
Yep, I'm here. Okay, so just update, we got both the bank specific Premier and Umpqua authorized signers have been updated with the changes in directors involved. I wanted to, we don't have to necessarily decide on this today. I just wanted to bring up the topic of we have a threshold dollar amount that requires board approval for expenditures, from within each committee. And I think that's what at $5,000, right, Bill?
Yes.
I just wanted to table, and again, we don't necessarily need to go in deep on this, but the idea of maybe lowering that amount to 2,500 or something like that. This is going to be a really tight year for us with not getting an assessment increase. So we're going to be super tight on things with the budget and need to watch almost every penny to make sure that we have enough at the end of the year to do what we need to do. So again, this is just an idea to float out there. We don't necessarily need to make any action on it. And I think as time moves on and I look at the budget and how we compare to the budget, if we start to see any alarming things happen, then we'll certainly want to revisit that idea. For 2023 taxes, there are 7 items that need to be provided to the CPA firm, Schwint and Company, who's doing our taxes. And they'll give us that audited report that we need. And so Bill and I are working collectively on these items. There's a couple of them that I don't fully understand exactly what they need, so I'm going to kick some of them back to them for comment and advice, but everything else is pretty straightforward as far as what they are requiring. So we'll be working on that here this coming week. So next slide should have then the asset snapshot, I believe. Oh, no, that's right. Oh, okay. So the Corporate Transparency Act, spent a couple minutes on this. There is a law that has been passed, a requirement for anybody who has an LLC, and this includes Three Rivers, to basically file with CINFIN, and it's to prevent crimes related to corporations filing, and you have to note who all the owners are and invested people within corporations. And we have until January 1st of 2025 to comply. If you don't, then there will be a fine of $500 per day levied against the corporation. So we need to check and confirm if we have filed Form 990 and 990N, which qualifies us as a actual nonprofit. There is always the possibility that this law gets overturned. Because there's a lot of us that probably have LLCs that we forgot we even have. I think Ryan and I had this discussion earlier this week. It's like, oh crap, how many LLCs are sitting out there that could potentially get fines for this thing? So anyways, I just wanted to, and Karen actually brought this in front of the board for awareness earlier. So thank you for that, Karen. And so stay on top of
So
that.
Ryan,
See where we're at. Yep.
Rob,
Yep.
this is going to affect every person that has an LLC as a landowner also,
Correct. Yep.
right? I mean,
Right.
that's, so all of these people that have LLCs, that they're going to be in the same boat as we are.
That is correct. Yeah, great point, Karen. So yeah, this doesn't only affect the association itself, but it also affects, landowners that have LLCs, whether for business or for joint ownership purposes, that sort of thing. But yeah, it certainly impacts all of us. So. All right, asset snapshot. So we currently have in total assets just over 1.3 million. And that's broken out between Firewise with just over $800. There was a big project completed that used up the funding in Firewise, which is what it's there for. And then general funds just over 115,000. The garbage collection fund almost at 70,000. Legal at 61,000, and then the marina fund at 909,000, with over 870,000 of that in a CD. The volunteer fund is at 72,000, almost 73,000, and then the road fund is at $153,000 currently. All right, next slide. Okay, if you click on that, Michelle. Thank you again, Michelle, for helping. I assume that's who's on the other end of this.
Yes. Hold on, it's opening.
No problem.
Oh, it's gonna show on the Zoom side, but not in here.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay,
All you young people get this.
perfect. So go ahead and scroll down. Just scroll, there you go. So this is going to kind of match, this should match the asset snapshot that I just shared. So you've got various funds showing that sort of thing. Now, a volunteer fund, for example, on here shows $84,000, but the asset snapshot showed just over 72. The reason for that, this was as of the end of March 31. The asset snapshot is a snapshot in time just a couple days ago. So there has been expenditures out of the volunteer fund since when this financials report for month end was pulled and when the asset snapshot was pulled. So just to explain the differences there. All right, go ahead and scroll on down. I want to get to the individual funds there, Michelle. Yeah, keep going. Should be next page, I believe. There we go. All right, so this is our actual year to date, and this is a profit and loss against what we budgeted. And so these first ones are all income accounts. So we have the year to date actual is what we've actually brought in compared to the total year budget of what we expected to bring in all of those categories. So Sheila and I spoke with Julie about a week and a half ago to get like all advertising for the ad board invoiced and collected. So that's why that still shows 0. And we'll certainly be hitting that $2,000 for that category. And then as we just kind of continue to look, so our total operating income for the year so far, we've collected almost $3,800. against what we budget for $263,000. Now this does not include roads because roads is in a separate fund that we'll see later, but so certainly the assessment is the biggie here, which is yet to be collected, of course. So you can see though that some have prepaid the assessment at $1,850. So, all right. Then looking down through expenses, we've got, like the ramps, the docks are at 8,300 compared to a budget of 1,000. So we had that repair that we had to do for the docks. Outhouse maintenance, at 1,000 currently against a budget of 10,500 for the year. So that will certainly get eaten up as the holiday events happen and that sort of thing. Yeah, just kind of continuing down. Advertising newsletter expense. We've already spent about half of what we budgeted for costs for like printing, mailing, that sort of thing. Now, we do have an upcoming effort to shift us to digital, which will help the association save a ton of money on printing, mailing, that all goes away. So that's going to help us in a big way. So legal fees, we've currently spent just close to 4,200 against a budget of 15,000 for the year. Bookkeeping, 7,900 with a budget of 32,000 for the year. And then meetings and events, we'd spend about 5,000 against a budget for 13,000 for the total year. All right, go ahead and scroll on down and just see if there's, yeah, so like office wages, almost $8,000 against a budget of 40,000. Wages for snow plowing, we should hopefully be coming out of that season now. But total of 2,000 budgeted, and we spent 1,230 on that. So reserve study fee was set at 4,000 for a budget, but we spent 6,000 on that. So slightly lopsided on that guy. Total utilities, we're at 4,000 so far, and out of a budget of 9,300. So total operating expenses, 55,000, just shy of 56,000 against what for the year we'll have about 270,000. So net income against expenses. So our total income so far that we've brought in is 3,791. And we've spent almost 56,000. So we're at a negative 52,156.56. So everybody can see how critical, how important the assessments are to the organization. Of course, we don't exist without those assessments. So go ahead and scroll down, Michelle. And I think then we should, yeah, these are the individual funds that we have. So we can see all the expenses out of those funds that we've had so far within 2024 as of March 31. Next fund, please. Okay, Firewise. We made 53 cents somehow. Oh, interest income. All right, go ahead and scroll down. Garbage. So far this year, we've brought in just over 3,000. Obviously, our holiday weekends are going to be the ones where that is going to increase. And again, we do have an effort to do collection via QR code that we are looking at on how to make that happen. It gets really difficult as a nonprofit, but we've got some volunteers on board who are going to be helping with that. Because I do think that will hopefully increase the likelihood of how much money we can collect for garbage, because not everybody's carrying around dollars in their pockets anymore. So, all right. So net income of 1,300, sorry, against 12,500 for the total year so far. All right, go on down. Marina fund. So the interest income that we've made this year is 10,749. So kudos to the people involved in getting us set up to have that fund put into a money-making account, because we just letting the money sit there without us, putting a single penny into that. By itself, that interest income was almost $11,000. So that's huge. All right, scrolling down. I think we're nearing the end here. Road assessment. So this is where those funds for the road assessment actually land and sit. So we collected 152,000 so far against a budget of 175,000. And we've had, I think, $670 in road improvement expenses so far this year. So, all right. I believe volunteer fundraising. Obviously not much in income yet because we haven't hit that season yet, but it sure is just around the corner for us all. So, and so we're expecting net income of 22,620 for the year after expenses. It's all said and done. So, all right. And then already gone through the asset snapshot, so we're good to go there. All right. Thank you, Michelle, for that.
Any questions for Rob from anybody? Okay, so Karen, you wanted to give us an update on the office?
Yeah, we have hired a third person we're excited about. Stacy Whitfield has come on board and is in the process of training and will get worked into our schedule ASAP. Really excited about the new road or the new gate committee working hand in hand with the office because they affect each other. So they've been a joy to work with. So Dave, Steve, and Ryan, you're wonderful, and I appreciate your help and all of that. Other than that, I can't think of anything else except we're excited and welcome to Stacy for joining us.
Yeah, she's sitting here working hard this morning, so we've already got her online.
Excited to have you, Stacy. This is Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
The Meg just headed out the door, so volunteer fundraising. Karen, did you want to go back to rules and regs and cover that? Anything on the update for that?
Oh, do you want to? Yeah, so we had a meeting yesterday. Let me
Okay.
grab my paper. Oh my gosh, I just set it down here. Okay, so we had a great meeting yesterday, called to order with Jeff Thompson, Mike Patton, John Gottbreath, and myself there. We discussed, the discussion was of adding a new rule to for the Easy Doc system. So what we'd like to bring forward is a new rule that will be added to our current existing rules. So I move for the board to agree to no motorized watercraft shall tie up to the Easy Doc system. Any documented infraction is subject to current penalty schedule and any damages incurred. That's the new rule we want to put in place ASAP. So I think you guys have to, the board has to agree to adopt that rule.
Yeah, the board, once the board agrees, it becomes effective in 30 days. So
Correct.
So the motion, I'm sure Stacy's still writing the motion.
Karen, is there going to be signage down there? Or?
There is.
Okay.
We're working on that right now. There's John.
Hold on. We have a motion on the floor, so we need a second.
Motion. I would like some clarification on this.
Okay, we have to have a second.
We have to have a second.
I second the motion.
Second,
Okay,
Tom, who'd second? Tom?
yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
Now, discussion, okay,
So,
go ahead.
so nobody can tie up to the dock system at all, so, a single person goes down there and launches his boat by himself. He cannot tie up to the dock.
Well, is there cleats? I haven't been down there in a while. My
Well, we
understanding,
can't, I don't think we can make a rule that you can't tie to the dock, but you can let them tie to the dock. That's where I was going with that.
the
Aren't we
easy,
talking about the swim enclosure?
In the
the
boat.
easy dock system, I understand, comes off a solid dock. So the solid dock, it sounds like you can tie to if you move your boat. We don't want people to tie to the easy dock system. And my understanding is two different pieces.
As long as everybody's clear on what that easy dock is, because it's all called easy dock system. That's the only thing I was getting at, Karen.
Karen, I think the concern is the easy dock system that surrounds, that defines the swim area. I was down at the ramp just the other day. That section where you're taking boats in and out of, you got to let people tie up. And that's really not where the issue is. The issue with large boats that are attaching themselves to the dock system that surrounds the swim area.
Can we just remove the cleats?
This was
Been done.
a request from Meg and the committee that had to spend thousands of dollars to get that system fixed. So based on her recommendation, this is what we brought forward to the rules and regs. So
The damage, as I understand it, or as I understood it, having heard Meg talk about it a few times, was again, the dock system that defines the swim area. There's the other dock, the floating dock that separates the two ramps. There's some sections of it that go out where boats would necessarily have to tie up, to go park their vehicle or do whatever. But I can't support a rule that doesn't allow it to tie up at the ramp.
So it says there are cleats at the boat ramp, no cleats anywhere else. So that appears to be pretty clear to me that you can tie at the boat ramp, but not on the system itself.
Okay, but the verbiage that you have does not define that. So that would be a good thing to do and say at the boat ramp, if there are cleats available, you can do a temporary tie-up. Otherwise, there are no tie-ups to any floating docks.
Okay, Meg has a comment.
I think, Tom, that's the way to say it, because where people launch their boats, there are cleats there. Everywhere else, the cleats have been removed, and I also want to clarify, it's for motorized boats. So if something isn't motorized, like a kayak or something like that, that's not what we're talking about. It's for motorized boats. Sorry, everybody.
Okay, so there was a question brought up earlier. I want to get back to you on it for signage. Karen or Meg, you may be able to answer this. Oh, is there going to be signage down there?
Yes, they've already been produced and they'll be put up. We don't want to put them up until after we do our repairs. And all the repair pieces are coming next week. So in the next couple of weeks, thank goodness the water is still down. I know I'm not happy about that, but in this case, it will help. So all those parts are sitting over in the valley. They'll be here next week. All those repairs will happen and then the signage will go up after that. So you have time to do some repairs on the verbiage.
Okay, yeah.
Meg,
Yeah,
Karen, oh, hang on. Go ahead, Karen.
So is the boat ramp that easy dock system?
It probably came from Easy Dock, but another thing that separates the part around the rest of the swim area is that those two areas where our double ramps are attached to the ground. I mean, they're attached to the earth, whereas all those others are just floating. And I like the verbiage where it says the cleats are available. I think that will help too. And if you specify it's at the ramp area.
Hey, Karen, could you reread the motion that you have, please?
No motorized watercraft shall tie up to the easy dock system. Any documented infraction is subject to current penalty schedule and any damages incurred. So my understanding when I was down there is that when you back your boat in and you walk alongside and hold your boat, that is not the easy dock system. You walk around the corner to the right, and that begins the easy dock system.
You need to paint a line on the dock.
It's all the same company.
Karen,
I understand what you're saying, Karen. I get it. I'm not trying to throw a big monkey wrench into this thing, but all that whole system, that whole plastic docking system is all easy dock system. And I just want to make sure that we're clarifying it's going to be the skinny side of everything that surrounds the swim areas only, that there's no tie-ups for motorized boats.
Yes, Steve?
Get rid of the Easy Dock, that's the name of the system.
Yeah,
And call it swim area.
Okay.
That's what we don't want people to dock against, is the swim area.
But then does that encompass all the way down past the swim area?
It's got to encompass the whole thing, yes.
I think you could just use the verbiage of you can't tie your boat up where there's not a cleat. It's pretty simple.
yeah, if we can't decide what the easy dock system is, we can't expect our guests and visitors to do it. I agree. If the verbiage needs to be, if there's a cleat there, you can tie up. If there's no cleats, there's no tie up.
And just add
Pink to
temporarily.
handicap, kind of, or, you know, like a yellow,
Right.
you know, saying no cheating, you're
Okay.
tying up.
We have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. What we would like to do, or what I would suggest that we do here is have a motion to amend the motion and change that verbiage. The rest of it for the fine and the penalty for tying up can stay intact. That meets our usual rules and regs. So what I would like to see is a motion that would suggest that we make it for where the cleats or tie-up devices are available. Otherwise, you can't tie up. Somebody come up with something there. Is there? Tom, can you put something together quickly that would make a motion for that? Maybe not. David, you got an idea on what you want that to say?
I'm fine with, you can only tie up where cleats are, or boat dock cleats are available. So they can't just use.
Boat ramp cleats were available.
It would be a
Right.
dock.
Yeah, I just don't want them, don't want to let them think that the swim ladders are a tie-up feature for them, because that's why we got two of them that are broken off of it right now.
Hey, Dave, do we want to consider like a time limit too, or just say temporary or?
If I think they're tied up in that ramp area, I think, they're gonna get the hurry up from, whoever's right behind them, so I don't think we need to worry about the timeline on that, I wouldn't think. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess we could
My
approach
son-
it when the problem arises.
What, Karen?
I'm like, let's just table this, bring it back to rules and regs, and we'll bring forward a better motion instead of spending a lot of time spinning around on this, because everybody has a different idea, and I get that. And we want to make sure we encompass them all. So let's go back to the drawing board and we'll,
We'll table that discussion, and see if we can get it done on the next meeting.
yes, we'll do a little more defining of what we want.
Perfect. Meg, stand up. Okay.
I will stand.
Well, get on the bottom, stay. You had headed out the door when we were discussing the volunteer fundraising, and so I wanted to give you an opportunity to speak on that committee report. Please.
I have the committee report that I put in.
Okay, you're right.
Just a couple of things have been added to that. The volunteer group, the new volunteer group that met on the 13th was very well attended. I was really impressed. We're pretty excited and wanted to get involved. And they did set a next meeting for Sunday the 5th, May 5th at 10 a.m. down at the event center. Also wanted to talk just a little bit more about what we're doing with the fire break, the 18-hole disc course and 9-hole desert course that's been there for many years. We're doing a whole reno on that. People have really taken up using the pickleball courts, and so this will give another venue for families to go and enjoy. On the 4th, May 4th, we're having an all-day cleanup down there. We're asking that people bring, if they're gonna come down and volunteer, if they have a pickup truck with or without a small trailer, because we're gonna wanna transport brush that we take out of there. And I wanted to say a special thanks to Dawn and Jake Clay, who just did a whole bunch of spraying down there. That will help a whole lot.
Who sprayed? I'm sorry, Nick.
Steve, Dawn and Jake Clay. Sorry.
Thank you.
Mhm. And the other thing I wanted to add is, and I mentioned this in my report, I would like a new, on the website, I'd like a new area that people can push on just for that fire break. Because we're gonna have, I want to put on there, people can download the
Scorecard.
yeah, the scorecard and information. I'll do a little history. I've already talked to Gary Sweet, and we'll put together a little history thing. And so people can utilize that, and we'll let people know that there are golf clubs and some discs available to borrow, and if they keep them, they keep them. And we're also gonna plan, after we get all this done, we're gonna do a happy hour at the fire break. So we'll have people, we'll publish it, and see if we can't get people come down there. We'll show them the scorecard. They can walk the whole course, get an idea of what's there, and start promoting that, because I think it'll be a good addition, amenities addition for Three Rivers. Anything else?
Okay.
Thank you.
Meg, just a question on the signs for the no tie-up signs. Have those been printed yet? And if not, maybe just have them hold off on printing in case the verbiage is gonna change.
They've already been printed and they're ready to be installed. We're not installing them. And I can get the verbiage for you. They're real simple,
Okay,
real simple.
okay, thank you.
Okay, that ends the committee reports.
Hold tight, hold tight.
Hold tight, yep.
Just me. We moved to finish the rules and regs. We brought Kevin Williams in as a director. As a committee member into rules and regs to a 2-year term. So I'm going to state that we now have Jeff Thompson, who his term comes up in 2025, John Gottbreath, 2025, Mike Patton, 2026, and Kevin Williams, 2026. And that is our Rules and Regs Committee. And our next meeting is May 18th at 9 a.m. at the Event Center.
Okay, members to committees need board approval, and that's not necessarily a vote. Is there any objection to Kevin being on rules and regs from any of the other directors?
None for me.
Okay. Then tell Kevin, thank you very much. We appreciate his volunteering for this.
We're
So
pretty
I-
sure he's the next chairman.
There you go. There you go. I'm going to reach out. Is Linda Wheeler on?
But can I do security really fast?
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to, it was in the consent agenda about our new 3R watch group, but I'm thinking we need to approve it as a board. So they're under, as they're, an okay committee in case we have any, you know,
Well, the question would be, you are still in the process of establishing that group. The group
We are.
would be under the security. So, the board, if you're looking to have the board vote on having your security committee go ahead and do that and to get the neighborhood watch going, we can do that, but it falls under the security umbrella now.
Yep.
So I think you're good to go. I understand.
Okay.
But I think you're good on it.
Okay, great, perfect. Thank you. We'll just leave it as is and bring back updates as they go. We've got a great group of people that are excited about this 3R watch, which will educate people on the rules and neighbor to neighbor, and very excited. So, okay, thank you.
Very good. That's good to see. Back to, is Linda on there?
So there's an LW.
Yes.
Is that-
Linda,
There we go.
speak up. I wanted you to give an update on the governing docs so that we know what we're doing.
Oh, okay. We are ready to send out the draft to all landowners, and I'm hoping to get that emailed in draft form to all members tomorrow. I need some assistance with Karen or whoever, whoever's going to do that on my behalf, because I don't have the emails for everybody. So they'll get email, an explanation, and they'll get the current CCNRs, and they'll get the draft CCNRs, and they'll get a summary of changes that will highlight, most of the changes. And then they'll have a comment period to be able to comment through May 29th, and we're asking them to comment to the govdoc at 3rrec.com email. And we will hold a Zoom town hall meeting on May 29th at 7 p.m. for anybody that wants to attend and discuss their comments, concerns, questions. And then once we get through all that, then the plan is to send it out, review all those comments, and the committee will need to meet again and decide if, what changes we will make from that. And then we'll send it out for an actual vote. So thank you to the committee. And I'm really looking forward to comments from everybody, because it's, we've been working on this for quite some time, and it's once you've worked on something for so long, it's set in our mind that, hey, this looks great and wonderful. However, everybody has different opinions, and I'm really looking forward to what others have to say or what their questions might be, and incorporating that into our new draft.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And just so the directors know, and that's changing the CCNRs requires a 75% positive response from the members. So this is not like changing the bylaws. This can't be done at an annual meeting. We have to mail out these ballots, and we have to, and I know from experience, start calling people, because 75% of the 703 votes, it's hard to get that. So this is a process, and we don't change the CCNRs very often. So we have to have enough foresight to make the suggested changes that might come, as well as anticipating problems or things that we need to take care of right now. So this will be a big one, and this It's gonna take, bless you. It's
And
gonna
then
take.
as far as the bylaws go, those are done. They should be in the board's hands. I emailed that to all board members. What needs to happen now is a resolution, which I think you have on the agenda to approve the board to approve those amendments to be recorded. And then the president and secretary need to sign on the signage page. And someone needs to take them to Jefferson County to record them. Once they're recorded, when the copy comes back, then you should convert that to a PDF and post it on the website.
Yeah, we're in the process of doing that right now,
So we're done with that. All the amendments from the two motions that were made on the floor at the annual meeting, as well as the two ballot measures, those have all been updated in those new revised bylaws.
Okay, thank you. So now, any questions for any of the committees? What do we have? Okay, so we have public comment. I have a
Oh,
second.
I think, sorry, Bill, do we still have, do we have architectural and then, communications or?
Well, we have in the consent agenda, had an architectural, excuse me, there was a report. Actually, I think architectural, there was no report. Roads, insurance, office, those were no reports. So the rest of them would have been in the consent agenda. Is there something you want to cover on it?
Oh, I just wanted to point out that, I guess today publicly that Ryan Nobles has agreed to take on the role of director, in communications. So I just want to thank him, a huge thank you for that, because trying to juggle communications and treasurer was becoming way too much. And so, and I sent out kind of a call for volunteers in that March meeting, got a really positive response, and already Michelle Patton's involved and helping in a big way. And so just looking forward to growing that group and just getting more and more support from everybody. So Ryan, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add for communications at this point, but thank you.
Yeah, I have the slide up. You can probably see it on your end there, Rob. You already touched on it, Michelle. We do have new members. This kind of leads me into the question of how we assign these to terms, our members. Is that correct?
Correct.
So our current members are Sheila and Meg. New members are Michelle Patton, Mary Graff, Stacy Whitfield, Krista Morales, and Jessica Merrihew. Every week it seems someone else is willing to join this group, so hopefully it keeps growing. This is going to be an undertaking, to say the least, for the direction we're hoping to go. MailChimp and Canva, we may put a line through MailChimp if we go the direction we wish to go with the new website idea that we'll probably discuss here in a minute. Canva will probably keep because that's the way we design the email blasts that we're looking to send out. We'll just be sending them out through the desired website for which we hope to go through in the future. A lot of people have reached out for updates to the website, like Meg was talking about, putting more information for the fire break, so on and so forth. We've kind of put a pause on communications because of the possible new direction. We don't want to put a lot of work into something just for it to go to the website, because the new option is going to be really comprehensive, and that's the point of possibly a new direction for the majority of communications, including the website hosts and platform. Within that, within our 7+ members of the community, or sorry, members of the committees, we would like to see about going to Gmail Workspace. I know we're currently using Zoom. This would forego that. Zoom is a fee. If we went to Workspace, we could go to Gmail. I know a lot of committee members are saying that they're sending and not receiving emails. The website is our email host. There's 24 email addresses in there, and they're all forwarding to someone else. And it's kind of getting stuck in this circle of doom, as I call it. They're not going where they need to go. Workspace would satisfy that problem. along with all of those other bullet items there being included. So this would be, it's kind of an overlap into Karen's space. This is probably a good direction to go along with some other things we will definitely talk about. My last point is landowner feedback. I've already had people reach out to me requesting to be anonymous, but also telling their ideas of what they want to see throughout the neighborhood. I recommend people keep doing that. I promise to keep that anonymous, just the information being shared, not the person sharing it. I'm going to repeat that over and over again because I want people to feel included. I know our last meeting, Aaron mentioned that people don't get involved because they don't feel included. And this is one way I hope to satisfy that. So.
Perfect. Excellent. It's gonna be fun. And I don't want to spoil the future information that's going to come up, but we're also going to include advertising in the communication.
Correct.
So that everybody knows that in advertising, it's going to be, well, we'll talk about it in a few minutes. Don't want to get in. Sorry, I got it.
It's excitable material.
So, that brings us to public comment. And as I said, now's the time for public comment because we're going to go into the other stuff here in a few minutes. Those attending, did I have anybody who wanted to make any comments now? Anything that they wanted to bring up, questions that you might, and it doesn't have.
I don't know if this applies now, but I was wondering if there's any way we can do another, like a mail out vote on a dues raise minus the Fieldstone. I know that I got feedback from a lot of people that said they would have accepted to get that raise if Fieldstone hadn't been in this scenario.
Well, there is a possibility. That's an excellent question because right now, the way it's looking, I'm gonna have to use Meg's pop can money to get us through this
Wait a
year.
minute.
So- So,
No using pop can money unless you come down and stand.
yeah, I know, I do the pop can. I understand totally. See what happened? The problem, or not the problem, the issue is that it's a bylaw change. And in order to do a bylaw change, there would have to be a majority of the people at a particular meeting, and we would have to reach a quorum. So we would have to get 140 landowners together, all of them voting yes, to make any kind of a change. And that logistically is a problem that we just usually save for the annual meeting because we get it. Now, we can do a mail out vote. We can do something to see if we get a quorum, and that's something the board could address. But, and so we'll look into it. I'll keep it down as an action item for us so that we maybe if we can get a plan, we might be able to make it. Rob is working tirelessly at trying to make sure that we have enough money to get through the year. And I got all my faith is in him to pull it off because I think he can do it. So,
Well, you know, on mail-out votes, the girls in the office used to stuff envelopes and mail them out. So that's still.
well, and that might be, that might be the thing that we end up having to do. So we'll do that. So is there anybody on, oh, Steve?
We get a list of problem areas, areas that the board is having faced, so that we all know what you guys are actually having to work through in our finances and maybe involve more volunteers, that kind of thing. We get a list of priority one, top priority.
Right.
wrong priority.
Yeah, okay, and I will do that. We'll get that together, and what I'm hoping to do is to have these committees be far more active. I think active is not true because they were really active. I mean, we've had some great committees and they've done that, but they're going to have more responsibilities than the committees are going to have to come up with their budget items. They're going to have to come up with their needs, and they're going to have to let the board know there's no more micromanaging this. This is a group effort. So it's going to take everybody, as many people as we can get to volunteer to do that. So, hey, well, go ahead.
I like Rob's idea of dropping that limit down just so that we can.
Okay.
Hey, Bill, could you repeat for people remote what the comments are?
Oh, sorry, you can't hear them?
No.
No,
Oh, okay. Steve Grenier spoke about having a list, a prioritized list of needs that the board is addressing so that the people, the members can take a look at it. If there's volunteers or somebody wants to step up and help out, we can get a better idea and they can understand what we're going through. So I'm personally gonna work on that and try to get that out this coming week so that we know that. And then, of course, the comments that I made about the committees is coming up. So I had another hand up.
Why do we still have Fieldstone?
Okay, the question on the floor, and I'm sorry, your name?
Rick Ferguson?
Rick Ferguson? Okay, the question on the floor is why do we still have Fieldstone? We have eliminated as much of Fieldstone as possible and are working to eliminate the rest of it. We just can't do that, Rick, as fast as what some of us would like it to happen. So they are doing the financial consolidations for us. They have the accounts. We have been able to separate the Premier Bank and the Umpqua Bank. Rob has been working to get the financial portion of it as much isolated so we can just start taking control. We've gone to an outside CPA firm, which is going to take care of the audits. We still have payroll, which is one thing we can't handle in-house, or that we could. I don't feel comfortable handling it in-house. So we'll need that third party for that. And then we need that third party, which is the CPA we just got, who could audit the books either monthly or at the end of the year. And audit is a direct term. It's more of just reconciling a checkbook and doing that. And we're going to go through that. So I would say within, Rob has checked into, we had signed a contract with them, the previous, I think it was Rob, can you help me on that? Was that a 2-year contract?
Yeah, it renewed February 1 for 2 years. And so there's always a termination clause and that sort of thing in contracts and that sort of thing. And the Fieldstone one is you basically pay out 3 months worth of the monthly fees is the out, if that was a course we wanted to take.
So that's the way we're moving. It just takes us a little time to get to there, but suffice it to say, we're trying to bring everything to where we can handle what we can handle. And I'm creating, the office is no longer just the greeting. We're going to have business operations in the office. We can take care of it. We're big boys and girls. We can take care of a lot of our stuff ourselves. We don't need a management personnel to come in. We just need to operate Three Rivers more as a business and to make it work. So that's the direction we're headed.
I just think that it's the wrong way that we have to send our checks to California.
You won't get any argument out of me on any of that. So I just have to follow the rules to get it done.
Can we give it to the office?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
So Bill, do you wanna let, is it Rick?
Yes.
Do you want to let Rick know why we even got involved with Fieldstone, what happened a number of years ago when we were running our own office? And the person actually lived in this building.
Yeah, I know all about
Okay,
that.
so that's why it.
Not all about it, but I know enough.
Yeah.
For those of you online, Meg was commenting about why they changed the Fieldstone, and that was due to some illegal actions by an employee, and that goes that way. But that happens usually because of not being monitored. Somebody's not watching somebody, and there's assumption. And that I've been a small business owner my entire life, so that's about 52 years now, and you can't allow people to just do something without monitoring. I don't care how good they are, how much you love them or whatever, you just gotta monitor it. So we're gonna do that. So, are there any comments from people outside? Okay. Got it? All right. Yes, okay.
want to visit back to the dock tie-up issue. Why can't we just have a sign that says no tie-up beyond this point?
Oh,
That's a good one.
and the big yellow line that somebody said.
Yeah,
Big
mark
shiny
the line.
No tie-up beyond this point, and let's put this thing to bed.
Yeah,
Although
does
it's
that guy
like-
want to be a president of a board or something like that? He's good.
But what about kayaks and stuff?
Yeah, the
No
mark.
motorized.
Yeah.
No
I
motor-
understand
no
that, but what I'm
motorized
saying
tie-up
is the
beyond this
sign
point.
that says no tie-ups,
No
people are gonna
motorized
think,
tie-up beyond this point.
Okay, so that'll be revisited and we can address that next meeting.
Okay.
Keep the signs, Meg. Okay, so what I want to go over is the committees. Oh, I'd like to be there, but I can't, that's just the end of the consent agenda. So
We're not in order, so.
that's okay. The committees that we have, while he's going through that, the committees that we have are going to be architectural, which includes the boundaries and land use committee, which, as you saw in the consent agenda, Kevin Fitzpatrick gave the minutes of the final meeting and made it clear that the committee had been abandoned at this point. However, it is a standing committee. It needs to have a place in the committee's realm, so we are folding it into architectural. We have a communications committee, which we have discussed briefly. It will include the advertising portion. We have a Firewise committee, which is expanding slightly because we're going to want it to be part of the Lake Chinook Fire and Rescue locally, which means that we need to have a liaison committee that makes sure that the fire and rescue knows what we're doing and we know what they're doing. We want to help one another. It's no secret there has been animosity between the two. That's gone. I don't care. We've held out the olive branch and I think they have some new people there that we've been able to work with, so they're going to do that. We have a garbage committee. We have a roads committee. We have a rules and regs committee, we have a security, and we are going to combine those two. The security committee will end up being the overriding committee with rules and regs falling under that because one goes within the other. We have a volunteer fundraising committee, which we will discuss a little deeper in a few minutes. We have a governing docs committee. We have the office committee, and the office committee is actually going to fall back under the board direction instead of a committee, and it will be an office of business operations. So it will be directed by the board, and that will be the business office. We're going to take care of as much business as we can within the organization at the office. So there's going to be extra pressure put on the ladies who are operating there. They're going to have additional responsibilities, which is going to require that the board remunerate them for the increase in work that they do. Okay, it's time for us all to step up. So that's going to be something that's going to come out of budget item. The office staff is going to be asked to do a lot of things, and we need to make sure as a board and as a association that they feel as though they're being rewarded for the hard work that they put in. So that being said, there is one last, which you would consider it a committee, but it is not. It's a standalone action within our group, and that is the Big Canyon Gun Club. The Big Canyon Gun Club was given some autonomy back in 2016 when I first got on the board, and that puts them in a standalone position. John, the current president, has been great at reporting and he will continue to report. And John's successor, as the years go on, will continue to report. But that isn't a committee that we as a board have anything to do with. That John and his group takes care of themselves and they have their area in which they are responsible for. So that being said, what I would like to do is we need to come up with or verify committee chairs. And from this point on, the directors who are going to be assigned to these committees, as by bylaw, each committee has to have a director assigned to it. But the director will not be the chairperson. We're not going to have the directors doing any more than being a liaison between the committee and the board. So each committee will have to have their own committee chair. I can tell you that we have some in place. Linda Wheeler will be the governing docs chairperson. She has been and continue to do so. We have Penny Lippold, who will be in charge of garbage and has been and will continue to do so. We have Shannon and Steve. I just can't bring myself to screw up their last name. Hoffitz. Okay, they're monsters.
Okay.
I appreciate them very much, but they're the ones responsible for Firewise and going to be the LCF&R. We have volunteer fundraising, of course, it was Meg for now until I give her so much work she can't do it anymore, and she gets mad at me. So, oh, hi Meg, you're still here. I thought you were gone. You were hiding behind Rick there. I didn't see it. So, other than that, architectural, roads, rules and regs. At this point, communication, we have a person, you're the director for it, so who is the chairperson? Michelle Patton. Michelle Patton is the person who will be in charge of that. So I've got that.
And Bill,
May I make a point of order here?
Sure.
There have been, and I'm not saying they're bad things, but there's been a lot of consolidations and a lot of this person's doing that stuff. But the board has the authority to combine the different committees, not the president. So these require a vote of the committee. And we haven't had that. And I'm hearing a lot of this stuff for the first time today. So I think we need to.
Well, I think that's why we're having this meeting, and that's why I'm bringing this up.
Well, your verbiage has been, this is going to be how it is, and this is who is what. And it's all subject to a committee vote, which may entirely likely be positive. But I think we need to frame this stuff as these are proposals subject to a vote.
No problem. We can definitely make that, because that's what we're leading up to, because all of these people have to be voted on. As I said earlier, including the members of the committee need to be affirmed by the board before anything happens. So.
And the consolidation of the committees needs to be voted on by the board also.
And we are going to vote on all of those things. That's what's coming up. We need to fill these positions that are open. We need to get those taken care of. So I'm just identifying what we have to this point so that we know what we're doing. So what, in Tom's language, I'm proposing is we are combining architecture with boundary and land use. We're combining communication with advertising. We're combining Firewise with LCF&R, which though LCF&R was not a committee, but that's an action that they're going to undertake. Garbage and roads stays the same. Security and rules and regs will be combined. Everything else will stand alone, and you do not have a concern with Big Canyon Gun Club. So I'm taking a motion, I will make a motion to combine these as I've stated. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
And is there a discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a roll.
Tom,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Karen,
Any mic?
Brian,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Dave's a yes.
Karen said yes, couldn't find mute.
I know. So now what we have is to fill some director or community chair positions. Architecture, well, let me go over the ones that we already have. On communications, we have Michelle Patton. Is there any issue with any board member of having Michelle be the chairperson for communication?
No.
We have Firewise, which is Shannon and Steve. Same question.
Nope.
Garbage, we have Penny Lippold. Any questions?
I'm listening to my meeting. Let me call you back. Bye.
Okay. On volunteer fundraising, Meg Cummings. Any questions? Governing Docs Committee, Linda Wheeler. Any? Okay. So we need a chairperson for the Architectural Committee. Do I have any suggestions, nominations from any director?
How about a volunteer?
Well, if you have somebody that you think we can put on the board, we'll see what else, we'll put on the team.
I'd like to nominate Steve Grenion.
Okay. Steve Grenion has been nominated for the Architectural Committee Chair. Is there any questions or comments from any other board members?
Yeah, have you been on the architectural committee before?
No. No, he hasn't.
Okay, so we're gonna go from 0 to 100 here. Okay. All right.
Tom, do you have anybody who's been working with you that would be a suggestion?
Well, sorry, dog barking.
Don, I'm sorry, his last name?
Sorry, my dog was barking.
Oh.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to either Jeff Thompson or Randy Panic about that first, because they have been active and they are no longer on the board.
Okay. So we have 3 nominees for, or you're going to check and see if they'll accept any nomination.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so we have those openings available. Roads Committee. This point, we have a person who is offered to chair the committee, and that's Bob Levens. Bob has been on the committee, and he's also been a landowner, obviously, for many years. Questions on that? Okay. That leaves security and rules and regs. And Karen, did you have somebody who you felt could chair that committee?
Well, in our meeting, we talked about this yesterday. And the two people who I thought didn't really want to take it. So I'm hoping that Kevin Williams will take the chair on this. So I'm just going to nominate him. How's that?
Well, we'll verify with him.
I'll ask him.
Okay. Okay, so we'll wait to come back on that committee as well as the architectural committee.
And just for a point, it has to be rules and regs with security as a sub, because rules and regs is a standing committee already in the bylaws.
I said that the other way, didn't I?
Yeah, but that's okay.
I have it written down right, but I said it wrong. Sorry. Thank you for correcting me on that. I apologize. All right. So that covers us for now for our committees that we have. We have some chair people in place, and we have 2 vacancies that are there. We will try to fill those at the next meeting. Okay. The other thing then that we have to do is to review the gate operations and update on possible software. So Dave, you want to take that one then?
As far as the gate operations, as of this week, all the maintenance has been done on those gates. All the belts have been replaced that were severely worn. The gate balance themselves have been recalibrated. The signs have been removed to reduce the wind drag off of the gates. As far as the software piece of the program, I will defer that to Ryan.
Okay, might get a little fun, so bear with me. Gate software and IVAM kind of coupled in together. We have reached the end of term with our current software provider who is providing IVAM and gate access management. We still have the basics set up that we will not be losing with your key card, keypad, but could be updated with the direction for which we look to go. I have reached out to probably 20 companies that provide gate access and or security via gate access and or the above. It's no one company kind of does everything you wish to do as a one-stop shop, but we did find one company that will get us almost all the way there. If we end up going this direction with a company called Dwelling Live, Front Steps, Community Plus, it's multiple companies kind of coupled together. We could look at buying the suite, and the suite comes with gate access via what we kind of what we already have now, where you log in and grant your guest access. But it will also include a website where we're looking to do all of our communications through primarily, where only landowners will have access to this website. You will have all of your email blasts through the website, your gate access, management of gate access. This list can go on and on. Another step in the suite is also part of financials, accounting, so to speak. I know Rob on Tuesday has another meeting for the caliber side. And I bring this up because this is kind of gonna be, our hope is that we reduce clutter and costs and have more involvement because of ease of access. Circling back to where I started with IVAM, we're on borrowed time. We did have a landowner that was part of the system who is also recommending that we let that time expire and go our own way. One question I do have for the board is, I got a quote the other day from Streaming Networks, who is currently the software writer of IBAN, and they want us to pay $16,000 plus $1,200 a year to continue operations. So I need to know, do I tell him, we're super interested, we're looking at this in the next month or two, keep us online and cross our fingers and hope we get through that time period? Or do I tell him a set dollar amount and see if he will promise us 2 to 3 months extension? Or do we pay the full amount and ride that storm out, which I don't suspect anyone wants to pay $16,000 for a system that is kind of on the outs anyways.
Hey, Ryan, this is Rob. Sorry. So we don't have the 16,000 to pay, I guess, as far as what's budgeted for the gate. Not that, I mean, I guess we could look at pulling from other sources, but when is the like drop dead date on that system?
So this is speculation because the landowner who was involved in this said he may never cut you off. Part of his management is not in this country, so on and so forth. You may be able to string it along until you get the new system operational, but that also leads into how quick we can get the new operational setup online. So he did call me yesterday and asked me how I was doing, and I have informed him that there was a board meeting and I cannot make a decision over the phone by myself. But we may have a possibility of offering him, say, $300 or $600 or even $1,200 for him to promise that it will stay on through the next 2 months, because we had a month extension that that month is almost over. We're at like a week or two left. As the 7 of us are aware, we have had an intensive Zoom meeting with the company we wish to go with, the Dwelling Live Front Steps option. But that also requires a local contractor, which I reached out to with Elite and Bend, who has installed the key card, keypad side of the whole operation with the gate itself. So they're on board with doing the site survey and doing the bridging between the new software provider, because you have to have two. You can't just have, it's not one piece of software in one box and everything works. One thing we will not lose is the security cameras. That's a different side of the whole gate. We paid for that. No additional costs are accrued unless we want to add cameras, which we have that ability. So I know there's a lot of things bouncing around at the same time wrapped around the gate, but a move has to be made, because without that, we're either going to be stuck with only using key cards or leaving the gates open.
Hey, Ryan, Rob, again, I guess my suggestion would be, could we find out from Dwelling Live, like, okay, if we opt to move forward with your solution, what's the time frame for implementation? And then once we know that number of days or weeks or whatever, then go to streaming to say, what would be our cost to what's the keep alive cost, for the next, let's say that Dwelling Live takes 3 months. So then we go back then at that point to streaming to say, what's the cost for 90 days to keep this system going?
I will counter that with, I've kind of already asked Streaming Networks that question, and it's kind of a one-man operation in California with other software writers not anywhere around California. And the response I got was the quote of 16,000. So I would like to say this is a very professional company willing to give me those numbers, but I would not hold my breath that we're going to get that. but I will definitely try again. My question to us in this room is, how much are we willing to offer before we cut it off and say, we're just not going to do that? Because 16 grand for 3 months is just not feasible.
So right, question, what would the projected cost of updating the gate system?
So I have reached out to all the companies that I said earlier, and I got responses from maybe half, and then I dwindled those down. I have 5 or 6 competitive bids, and we can post those, but everyone listening, be mindful that they're all different. There's no cut with just the bid. There's no context on what they're going to provide. Some people provide just an LPR camera with security. Some provide just the touch screen at the gate, so on and so forth. The current cost that Dwelling Live has thrown out, number-wise, is $5,000 to get the gate software up and running, but that does not include Elite Electric coming out and doing the hardware side, which we currently already have, but there may need to be some upgrades to bridge the two companies together to make the gate fully functional as intended. That is just the gate access itself. If we do the website, it's like $200 to get the website started up. And then Rob will know the final numbers come Tuesday for starting up if we go the direction with the accounting side of the suite. And the
They
reason
did say, Ryan, I think they did say though, like sub $1,000 per month for everything, all inclusive. That's including the accounting capabilities for us to enter invoices, pay invoices, collect assessments, all that type of stuff. And another feature to point out about this software suite, it does have the capability for charging for guest passes. The way it works is not an individual one-to-one charge for guest passes, but a landowner could get, if we opted to go that route, and I don't know, Bill, if that takes a vote requirement or how that works as far as charging for guest passes, but we can set it up so that landowners they receive an invoice monthly for guest passes that they've generated. Or we could do quarterly. We can kind of set it up however we want to, but that is a nice feature that could help pay. Again, I just have to stress, we did not get an assessment increase, but we want new toys. We have to find the money somewhere. And so this is actually a way to find the money without having to dip into other funds that are preserved for other things. So there is an element to creating revenue out of guest passes with this software. So.
But the question was asked, startup, the 1,000 that Rob quoted, I point blank asked him if we could keep that monthly fee. That the 1,000 he mentioned is the monthly fee to have all of these things. Now be mindful that that number keeps coming down because we're removing, like our website host costs money, Zoom costs money, all these things cost money that we're looking to basically roll into one suite package, package of the suite, but also hopefully it is sweet. The website startup would be cheap. The gate side would be a little bit of a fee. In the accounting, there's no startup number, but the monthly cost is going to be sub 1,000.
I think the question that Rob asked was how quickly can the new system acclimate themselves to our system so we can give the old system can we have a 2-month extension?
I don't know how fast we can get the new software up and running because this is going to require Dwelling to speak with Elite, coordinate, and Elite having the time to come out and do it. They said they're really busy. I have a secondary option that we can call. It's the same company that we reached out to for PropTia quote, which we already had worked out. We're leaning away from PropTia because our Dwelling Live option is cheaper and more inclusive. There's going to be probably a painful week of getting everyone switched over because it may require, once it's all established, it may require every landowner coming through the gate to come to the office one time to say we go with RFID option instead of key cards, little stickers that the gate will register, gate opens. We are looking at going away from the LFR, the license plate reader part to open and close. The cameras will still be there. They will register license plates, but they will not be functioning the gate open and close. I'm trying to keep this as short as possible because there's a lot involved, but it's also making all of our lives easier and having every landowner satisfied that, hey, I want to go somewhere that's easy to both pay my dues, see newsletters, get emails, get guest passes, so on and so forth with this one option.
Yeah.
And it's so much included in that one package that it's almost, like Karen has says, this almost sounds too good to be true. And it's just that, from the paper standpoint and the Zoom meeting, it was just that inclusive.
Yeah, just to dovetail on that, I mean, we have to find the money somewhere. And one of the biggest chunks that could be generated out of this as far as finding money is that if the accounting software side of this is powerful enough, then that could eliminate 80% of what we pay another company to do currently, Fieldstone. And we're paying over $3,000 a month for that service. That we still need to have that outside set of eyes, looking at accounts, reconciling for us, doing various things, but maybe that drops to $1,250 a month. And so now we've got, over 2,000 in savings per month by removing that element of the current set of vendors, at least what they do for us, and reducing what is done, therein reducing the monthly cost that we pay out to a company like Fieldstone. And then that reduction just helps again to fund a system like this. So, but I'll know more on Tuesday after we've got that presentation done.
Okay, so to summarize then, we're working on the new system. We're trying to find some options. We have a really good one in place, but you need to know what to do right now with the streaming live, the current one that we have, just to be able to operate the gate.
I need to know what dollar amount we're willing to go up to in offering, keeping this thing alive for 2 to 3 more months. And we may not even get, it may be a take it or leave it $16,000 type of deal. That's just the way this guy kind of operates. In the negotiating terms of what dollar amount are we willing to give?
That's 16 grand.
The tough thing about this is for the current gate software, we budgeted 0 because it's cost us 0 monthly. So it's a compelling question.
Well, we've got to be able to make the gate operational. We can't leave it up, and we've been painted into this corner. So the only thing we can do is to find the minimize the cost that's going to get us to get out of here and move on to the next status. So we're either 16,000, it seems like, or we're not.
Well, that's Ryan. That was for the year. Is that right? 16,000.
That's for the year. I think what they're arguing is that we have not really paid for everything that we have.
Mm-hmm.
The course of time, and in order to keep operating, they want that. And then the recurring fee is coupled in, and then you would just keep paying the recurring fee. And I want to stress this, that software is poor and the business side of operations is poor. And what I'm asking as far as a number amount, I may be able to offer them 300, 600, 1,200 and see kind of, but where do I stop that ball from rolling? Because
well, if we took 16,000 divided by 12, that's 1,333 per month. And so, maybe we just say, okay, for the next 90 days, can we pay you each month 1,333? For the next 90 days, we get our assessments collected. That starts May 1, so we'll have a better idea of what we can do moving forward. So that gives us a little bit of time, and that is a legitimate issue. that we need to make sure we get assessments in, before we can commit to any long-term stuff. So would that be a favorable, like, conversation to move forward with, Ryan, do you think?
I can try it, and I can also try, lower than that and see where he's willing to bite. It's a complete guessing game, so.
So do we put a limit, say 3,000, 5,000, pick that number? And Steve, you have a comment?
I want to stop you from talking about money on this. As a volunteer working on the gate since the first of the month, this system isn't dependable. The system went out just because power switches were put. And we were able to get a hold of Ryan being able to fix that. The gate would have been up this time right now. So putting money into it, my question for Ryan is, you mentioned the key cards, those will still work.
Key cards.
Can you repeat what you said?
So,
Summarize.
Hey, Ryan, can you repeat the question if you don't mind?
yeah, we're that's what we're just discussing. So Steve mentioned that that small things like unplugging a power strip will knock this system out, and it's requiring someone across the country who is a family member of a landowner to log in and fix it, and it's not worth throwing even a single dollar at. And then his final question was saying, do the key cards still work? To which I was going to say yes. The key card should be functioning no matter what, but that is it. No key numbers can be punched in. No license plates can be read. It will be just the key card.
So we had a yes pass operation before we got all of this. Can we go back to that?
That would, oh, sorry, to repeat what Steve said. He was asking if we could revert back to the original gate guest access management before the license plate reader cameras were installed. And that would be an answer that I would probably have to get from Elite. I did speak to the main installer who has installed this system, and he knows the ins and outs of it. He was extremely busy this week, but I did request him to basically teach us what we have so we understand what we're working with, and then also assist with moving forward for whatever we decide to do in the future. So to answer your question, Steve, I don't know.
My understanding, Ryan, was that 2 years ago, they went through and re-cleaned up our system, and the event program that was there before got pulled out so that it cleaned it up better, and that it is no longer operational.
So we're back to just card reading.
Yep.
One last thing since I'm standing up is I've been communicating with emergency services, fire and med, both with our local fire chief here and the county's whole system. A Knox box is what emergency services use. It actually has to be ordered through the county fire and medical, so that is in the process right now. We're waiting for that. They will have a key in that box that we are not responsible for. They take care of it solely on their own. That way they have the ability to get into that gate. I am writing up a draft for emergency steps for them. As soon as that box arrives, they expect it to be operational. That may be sort of it's not the same time that our system goes down. I'll talk to the manufacturer. There is a rewiring that we can do, very simple. They can get in and by putting their key, and that gate goes up and stays up, which makes total sense for emergency vehicle to get in and out. it doesn't make sense for us to be using that at all. Unless we have to send the gate up. So we also have, information about putting in what's called a loop system that, is not anything to the software. This is a mechanical, electronic, battery operated, that's what our system is. It's inexpensive and it can be put at the exit gate for, everybody to just get out. We don't have to use a card. That, the license plate, you just drive over it and you go. And it closes on the plate. So that to me is a no brainer to do. So my, my base.
And the people online
Okay.
had a really hard time
Yeah,
hearing all that.
no, we're good. Okay, so put in perspective for everyone listening, Steve is on the gate maintenance team. And the two things he was bringing to light are a Knox box and an exit loop system. So the Knox box is actually, I think, required by state law to have for emergency services. Apparently, all emergency services have the standalone key. It's part of like their ambulance or fire truck key ring, so to speak. That allows them to pull up, turn their key, gates open, and in this rewired configuration, the gate would stay open until they exit, and then we can get it put back down into normal operations. That avoids them sitting at the gate going, this doesn't work, calling people, can't reach them, so on and so forth. So the Knox box has been ordered. It has to be ordered through Don, fire chief. It's on its way. And then we'll work at getting it, the gates rewired to accommodate that key. Second part is on the exit side of the gates. As everyone is aware, we've always had to type a code, swipe a card, or use your license plate. There is a wiring system already in place that when you pull up, it detects the vehicle. It's not something you can just walk by and kick and it opens. It doesn't trip that way. It trips off the metallic sensitivity of a vehicle. So this is something that costs in the neighborhood of what, $400 or $500. It's a matter of cutting a slit in the square in the asphalt and hooking the wires up. You will no longer have to read a license plate, type a code, or swipe a card. You pull up, the gate opens, you drive through, and then the gate closes. Basically, like every apartment complex or gated community you've been to in the past. So those are the two things he was bringing to light.
And we have to get that installed and operational when the box arrives, which could be about a week.
And his last note was that once the box arrives, we have to install it. So that's coming up in a week or two.
Okay, so we're back to coming up with an amount of money that Ryan is giving a limit to. That's the question before board members. Does any board member have a suggestion?
I say we start at the limit being $1,200 and let me start lower than that with him in direct conversation.
I like that, Ryan. Just maybe if we can tie it to a time amount that aligns with front steps somehow. But at least the next 90 days, I guess, is maybe a safe bet.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments from directors? Is
that a motion?
I don't know that this is a motion item. We can make it a motion item in case there's any opposing opinion to it.
Well, because we don't have a budget item for this, correct?
Right.
So could we not to exceed $1,200 a month for the next 3 months?
Well, he wants to use the amount of $1,200 and see where that gets us. I'd say if we're going to make it as a starting point, if we're going to make a motion, we'll have a motion that he can use up to $1,200. If he can get 3 months out of $1,200, fine. If he can only get a month out of it, fine. If you can't get anything out of it, you'll have to let the board know, because this gate is, again, we've got to get this thing fixed, and we've got to figure out what we're going to do, and I don't want to hurry through something here just to get a Band-Aid on something, so if we have a dollar amount we can give him, see where he can go with it. We can tender that motion, and see if there's a second, any opposition.
I was thinking $1,200 per month, up to 3 months. So that would be what?
1,200 to 3,600 bucks.
Yeah.
So if we do, Ryan, can you construct a motion that you want?
As part of the motion, do we need to identify what fund that's gonna come from? Since it's not in budget.
Yeah.
Sorry, Meg, this is where we gotta start dipping.
Yes, ma'am.
Why wasn't this in the budget? Why is this all of a sudden like it's, you know?
Because we had
Did
no
we
idea.
not know that this was coming? What was going
We
on?
did, we had no idea that this was coming.
Don't they have like a contract?
No. No, not the way it was originally designed or implemented.
That's,
And
I think
despite
why
what-
Ryan wants to get away from this program is because they haven't been good, you know, not communicating, not having.
Kind of, hey, you owe us money.
That's it.
Extortion.
Let's
I'm
go.
sorry, what was your name? Holly Pickens.
The thing of it is, that system didn't cost us anything
Right.
for 5 years.
Whoa, okay, it was donated.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There
That's
was a
just-
long process to get to where we are today. So,
That's the simple version, yeah.
okay, can we get a motion out then to satisfy this and the fund to bring it from, where are we with security? We've used that up because we've got Memorial Day weekend, we can't do it for holidays.
Yeah, there's nothing in security.
The best we could do is going to either be roads, would be the possibility, obviously, because it is a road event. Does office have anything in it?
Let me take a look here.
It's pretty low.
Yeah,
But it's only $2,000 for the office
okay.
total budget.
Is that then, roads is probably gonna be our only option. Yes, Steve?
You can't use garbage stones?
Yeah, that's what
No, because those are restricted funds to use only for those particular items. Roads is a restricted fund, but this is part of the roads into and out of the association, so.
Well, you can't get to the garbage dump unless you go through the gate and not.
You, Meg, you wanna call Penny and ask her? Okay. Then let's just leave it at that. Okay. So, Rob, it looks as though roads is our only option.
Okay,
We could do holiday expenses.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, we got, there's $5,000 that's in the draft budget for 2024.
Right.
And that's all, we can't get our guests in to go to holiday things if we can't run the gate.
Can't get them in. Okay, that's an excellent point, Karen. Excellent. Let's do that. Yeah.
What was it from the holiday win? Expenses.
74735.
Thank you. Now we have the basis for a motion.
All right, make a motion to fund the current gate software for $1,200 a month, up to 3 months. The funds will be pulled from the holiday expenses.
That account is 74735.
which ironically has 3,600 left in it.
It's a sign. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second, Rob.
Rob seconds. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote.
Tom. Karen,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
and I'm also a yes.
We hadn't heard from Tom. Okay. All right, so next thing that we have to cover, and Ryan, you'll keep us in the loop on that, is we have the website, Facebook, email lists, and those things that we were going to take a look at. So it basically, what we're looking for is to get information out to landowners and be able to have a avenue for them to get back to us with questions, concerns, or suggestions, so.
So the email list of association members, I need to reach out to Fieldstone and see what our options are from robbing that one. Depending on it, how we go with the new website, we would garnish, or we would come to an opportunity for landowners to come into the office at least once, and then they can verify an email before we give them gate access for the changeover. So that's an option. So between the two, I think that we could figure that one out to get us going. The members only Facebook page, this again is going to tie back to utilizing the website that through the front steps dwelling live option is that will be primary means for people to grant gate access, which would also come with email blast part of the website, a calendar is part of the website, a whole plethora of options, but only landowners will have access to that half. I believe, as I was told, is that there will be like, when you type in 3rrec.com, anyone can do that. But in order to access all of the important stuff, you have to go through a login. Same thing will happen. We'll actually take that website name, bring it over to Front Steps Dwelling Live as the host. And then only registered users will be able to get into that part. And that will be our option to distribute information off of Facebook, away from Facebook, to only landowners. Part of the feedback is that I don't use Facebook. So we're trying to make Facebook as secondary, and then the website as primary.
Hey, Brian, quick note on the email list, and I guess, Karen, can the office, like, once we get a good list, then can the office keep that up to date, moving on like a moving forward basis?
Oh, absolutely. What
Okay.
I'd really like to see is that we take a deep breath because we know we want to change. Let's, for Linda's governing docs stuff, let's put it out through Fieldstone because it just goes to members, and put it out that way. We can use Fieldstone since we're still paying for them, and they will put out our email blasts until we get this other up and going. Because we have to be very careful that what we put out is only to landowners. So I just want to be cautious that we don't make too many changes till we get this new program in place. That's all.
Yeah, great point. And I think we're still like 3 months at least out from any potential changeover if it happens, but great point. Thank you.
I could have done it last Tuesday in the middle of the meeting. Made the change right then.
I mean, I have a list of all the emails that we have for landowners if somebody needs it.
Yeah, I just spent a couple hours the other night clarifying everything and who's what from our current email system that has access to our website. So we can absolutely spend a couple hours one night this week, Ryan, and get all this together and go forward with a really good email list. current.
Rick, you have a comment?
God, I keep hearing about Fieldstone. They can't even send bills right. Why are we dealing with this? Again,
We're gonna be stuck with them for,
how long?
I would go ahead and shoot out for the next year at least. I mean, hopefully less than that, but the transitional period, even if today we had Dwelling Lives, Community Plus, Front Steps, Caliber, 100% operational, like Rob said, we still have to have a third party overseeing some of what we are doing as just a second set of eyes.
The office used to do it.
And that's,
We don't want to.
They don't want to do it.
so,
Office has to have somebody. It's not fair to them.
yeah, the direction is, as everyone keeps asking about Fieldstone, the direction is hopefully,
They can't even get the bills right. They wanted you to pay 2 months beforehand.
yeah, we hear that. We are totally in agreement. Like
So why aren't they getting people fired at Fieldstone?
that ball is not in my court, but.
Or that in.
But to answer your question, in the future is we do wish to.
Who's the boss? You guys or Fieldstone?
The way it's been painted, and for those out there, Rick's question is, who's in charge, the board or Fieldstone? And I'm gonna answer, at this particular point, Fieldstone holds cards that we don't know. They hold things that they've been able to do, and as part of previous activities that we're not sure of, and we're trying to discover everything that we can in cutting it off. And I'm in your court. I was looking for that point where I could say, well, we'll just stop right here. Unfortunately, there's too many repercussions that we can't control and affects everything else that goes on. So now we have to start a shutdown mode. And as Ryan was saying, it's going to take a while, but we are in the process of finding, like he was talking about the third party application. We've found a third party who can do that now. We are working to start closing those out. We've changed legal. We no longer use Michael Peterkin. We have Harker Lepore, which is doing a better job of being responsive. So we're closing off all of those doors that Fieldstone had, but we can't close them all at once. There's just too much. As a volunteer board, we couldn't handle everything. We can't. So we have to do it systematically, and that's what we're doing. So that's what we're doing.
To close out the Facebook part, I don't think we should create another Facebook page. I think we should stick to just the one Three Rivers open source for anybody who wants to just see what's going on the basic level. I do know Stacy and crew do a very good job of screening their users on the residence page, but it's not the 100% secure option. So we're kind of leaning on it for the time being. But as far as a secondary Three Rivers managed Facebook page, I would say no to that.
Yeah, I agree, Ryan, because then we're having to post on a secured portion of a new website, and we're having to post on maybe a private only Facebook, and then we're having to manage, well, who has access to that Facebook page? Is it still real time and up to date and audited, and then also who has access to the website? It's just too much work for a bunch of volunteers to manage. So I love that. We can notify on the open Facebook that, hey, financials have been posted on the website, and then they go to the secure portion of the website and just kind of keep doing what we've been doing. So,
and that's exactly what I did for this meeting. I put the links in the post, which link to the Three Rivers website, which is behind a secure login. So yeah, agreed.
Okay, so we're going to be waiting to finalize the website protocols to see if we go with the dwelling portion in that company, because it is an impressive deal. So, all right. Any other questions about website? Okay. We have to we have to firm up this porta potty. So does anybody have an idea on who controls that contract? Meg?
Nope, not me.
Republic Services, Randy just sent a chat.
Okay. And does we know that? Well, then what we'll do is we'll research that contract to find out. Now, we need to have the responsibility for these assigned somewhere. Are we going to assign this to a committee, or are we going to assign this to operations? What does the board feel like?
Randy said there's no contract, just monthly rentals.
Thank you.
What about garbage? I know that's a fixed thing. Move it in with garbage. Essentially what it is.
Waste in, waste out.
It's a by definition, it's garbage.
I like that.
Okay,
Well, if
well,
it's a fixed income, it's a fixed income. Right? You're not gonna- it's not
All
gonna
right.
Change.
so I will suggest that to Duck. Okay. All right, and then I will follow up on that for the monthly to make sure that does anybody have any comments as to how many we had last year and the placement? Do we need more? Did we have too many? Meg?
We permanently have one right outside this building. There's
Right.
permanently one down at the event center. And then the handicap one has been permanent for the last year, right by the dock system. Those are the only three that I can think of.
How about out your golf course?
Yeah, no, those are owned, we own those. In fact, we're gonna get those cleaned up. Jake and Steve are gonna move those out, so the next time whoever does these comes, they'll do those too, but we own those aren't rentals. That's my understanding. They're not the color.
So then under those circumstances, who's taking care of paying for the cleaning?
Of all of them,
No, of the fire break portable toilets, if they're,
I guess the volunteer committee will take that on.
okay,
They only get cleaned once or twice, once every year, a year and a half, or 2 years. I mean, they don't get-
if the fire break gets as exciting, and half as exciting as the pickleball courts, you may find that not to be true.
Yeah, no. Pickleball court, that one's at the event center.
Yeah, so then I'll go back with them and discuss, but if nobody sees any reason to change, we'll just do with what we had last year.
Yeah, I think it works out just fine for bingo and that sort of thing. But since you're bringing that up, because we want them, all of them there, starting whenever the lake fills back up, through Labor Day, taking that money that you just took the $5,000 from, is that from, what was that money gonna go for? Was that part of the Labor Day games or something?
No, well, it was holiday activities, but it covered several things, so, yeah.
So it is not taking away any of our big family events that we do every year.
No,
Okay, thanks.
So we're back to the amount of portable toilets we're gonna have down here. We're still counting on the 4 above the swim area,
And one of those
And-
needs to be handicapped.
and one of them's gonna be also up at the rec center.
Yes.
So we're gonna have an additional 5 added.
How many did we have last year?
Yeah, last year I think what we had last year would suffice, but I honestly don't.
I agree with you. I don't have a problem with the amount. I just wanna make sure we're gonna order the same amount.
Yeah,
I don't think, the big if is the lake fills up, and I definitely think we need to have them before Memorial Day.
yes, I agree. I agree.
yes, Steve, or are you just stretching your legs?
No, I was.
Okay.
Can we coordinate the ordering of the porta potties? We did that for the Easter, but then they were taken away the day before the Easter came up.
Yeah.
So we just should have to wait until 30 days to
Easter. Well, there was the normal 2 years ago because.
Well, no matter what the date is, the beach cleanup and coordinate it, so it goes, what, 40 plus people.
Yeah.
doing beach cleanup. Just a suggestion.
Okay,
Coordinate that back. And just a question, what's the deal with the outhouses at the beach?
the permits have run out. The question from Steve is what happened to the outhouses at the beach? The permits for those tanks has run out, and it's actually 2 years past due. So we have to have them tested and certified before we can reuse them. So there's going to be a significant cost into rehabbing those pit toilets that are down there. And we have to look at that, but right now we can't do that, nor do we have the money to do that just to get it back in place. Yes, ma'am.
My question would be is, can the volunteer fundraising committee contribute funds to building maybe one set of outhouses like they have at the gun club? And we get volunteers to help do it, and maybe volunteer fundraising could contribute towards supplies and materials to get that built, and at least eliminate some of the porta potties and make one central bath location at the beach.
Yeah, that can be done. That would be a committee driven offer that they would have to make. And if they could make that, that would be great. We do have to keep in mind that there used to be a very loving couple who took care of the outhouses. And that is an extremely hard person to find. And so not only do we have to create them, but we have to maintain them. So maintaining and if that's something the volunteer fundraising wants to look into, then the board's all ears.
It works really well at the gun club.
It does.
And so we could do something like that.
And I think that's a great idea, but we still have the issue of the existing ones. That has to be.
Yeah. And that, if you want, I have the letter and we can sit down, and if that's something that somebody wants to tackle, or a committee wants to tackle, we can do that. Okay? But right now, I need to get the porta potties ordered, and so that they're here before the weekend. Okay, the last thing that I have to do is we have to have a motion to adopt resolution. I believe the number, I'm going to put the number of 2024-03 on it, which is confirming and filing the bylaws as Linda had mentioned earlier. And that has to be filed with the county, and then we will have it. So we'll now have the most updated set of bylaws that we've had. And that gets us just kind of a process problem that we've got to get out of the way. So, and actually I can make that motion. So I make a motion that we adopt the resolution to accept resolution number 2024-03. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll second, Rob.
Okay. Discussion? Hearing none, call for vote.
Tom,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Dave says yes as well.
That takes care of, is there anything else that we would need to go over is on the list? So that would take care of that. So our main focus on new business is preparation for our first big weekend of the year. Karen, is security in place?
Well, I've confirmed with her that yes, we are going to use them. We're going back and forth over the hours. There's been much suggestion of the hours. So there will be security. We're still working on the hours.
Now, is there any chance that your neighborhood watch can take on any responsibilities that weekend, or do you think it's too soon?
I think they're going to take on the, like, being at the front gate, greeting people, giving out the flyers, that kind of stuff. But we will not be ready to patrol the beach or do any of those things yet.
Okay. Bringing that up, we're preparing the rules and regs booklet, which Linda had produced a few years ago. We're having that reproduced to hand out at the gate. And we also looking to get a trifold flyer put together. I had talked to Julie Tone, and she has some that we have done in the past, but we need to know what we want to do with that. So we've got to get the information so that she can get those printed up, and then they would be handed out as well. Is there anything anybody would want in that trifold other than what we usually have in it, which is just the events that go on? And are we doing bingo, Meg?
Yes, sir.
And food, right?
Yes, and bingo kitchen.
Okay. Okay.
They're odd dates because the 4th of July falls on Thursday, I believe, so it won't be until Saturday the 6th.
And that's fine. We're only gonna, this flyer will only be
Memorial.
directed towards Memorial Day weekend, so we'll be okay.
Okay.
And in this, the handouts that they're gonna do at the gate, can we also incorporate the tow sports on the lake pamphlets?
You could put in there a link to where that's good, because those have been around for
They
3
won't
years.
work. I'd rather have, so if we have a bunch of those brochures,
Oh, yeah.
let's hand them out. The sign, I did install the sign down at the boat ramp, so the sign is installed there. Lance is gonna work on installing the sign on his fuel dock.
Right?
What about if we include, the D&D Marina, like what they have going on for that weekend as well?
If we have
Like
room.
live music,
Sure.
and I mean, I can definitely reach out to them and get their schedule as well.
Sure.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Lance about that. Last year, he agreed to, we started bingo earlier, and then he set back his live music a little later so that we didn't step on each other, which I think was more than fair.
Okay.
Is there a link from like our Facebook page and stuff to the D&D Marina?
D&D does not have a Facebook page. I just had a conversation this morning with the corner store, and they are now in our group because they have teamed up with D&D for the rental boats to come down just for Three Rivers people. But as far as D&D having their own Facebook page, they do not. Correct. They do Instagram, but they don't do Facebook.
Williams has a Facebook page when they ran it down, but it's not called D&D.
D&D has an Instagram page.
Right, correct.
I was just thinking to something you could put on the pamphlet, so, you know, people could go on, see what everything that's going on.
I think that's where the QR.
You can totally.
Well, they have to have a page first, the
Oh,
QR
really?
code. That's the problem is
That's
that,
a place to go.
yeah.
Okay. Well,
Okay,
So-
here's the other question.
yes, go ahead.
I'm just hearing about the partnership between the stores and marina, the pontoon boats. We need to have that, that's a whole gate access issue that we'll need to discuss with Lance and what's gonna happen.
Is there a current contract with Lance at the marina in Three Rivers and a current contract with the houseboat side of operations in Three Rivers?
Well, that's a great question.
Because this may snowball into something that comes up in the future if we end up with the software for gate access and possible revenue generation through entry and exit of the gate.
There are many things that have to be talked about and worked out. One big pebble leads to many, many, many little ripples. And so it's gonna have to be a whole discussion, and I don't know of a written down thing because it comes back to the Stills family arena. So there's a lot of issues with all of that. So
There is, but there's also the Stills family, and from our CCNRs is they're allowed. So we have to start identifying what you said there as far as all of the ripples. Yes, that's going to be a problem. So we've got a lot to do. So.
Right.
So, just for information, they still own the marina and the store and that parking lot up to the houseboat sewer stock. The houseboat sewer stock and further to the flight creek is not owned by Still.
Right, that's part of life.
So is Pops paying us for the access of all those houseboat renters?
No.
So there shouldn't be, we don't have a handshake with the Stills anymore, we have new owner. Recent owner, there should be a contract for that.
We'll have to look into it, find out. Thank you.
Do we have any understanding of the scope of what this agreement is, or are they just gonna rent boats to residents of Three Rivers? Or are they gonna try to drive traffic through just like the houseboats?
No, it's just for landowners and landowners' guests. That's it.
Well, guest could be loosely interpreted, because you can give out a guest pass all day long, and now friends and potential clients become guests.
That's a problem, because each individual vehicle is supposed to have their own code.
Yep.
And they don't adhere to it.
Yep. And not to bring it back up again, but we're going to talk about it a lot, but with the new system, if we go with it, we'll have a lot of ability to curate that, to really identify and weed out the weaknesses. The system will never be 100% perfect. People will try to game the system no matter how you write it, but the better we can do to manage it, the better it'll be in the long run. And this new software has a lot of options. And like one good thing with the RFID tags, if we upgrade the keypad out there, is you can't hand somebody an RFID tag. It's on your vehicle. You can't rip it off and stick it somewhere else. It's a one-time stick thing. So that would reduce the sharing of key cards. And then you would be able to say you're only using the gate access codes that you generate. And then there's a ton of limits and options within that software to make it more of what we want.
That would eliminate people giving their key cards to their kids. Friends and family.
Okay, well,
making codes that don't have expiration dates.
We're going to work on that. That's coming and changing. Right now, we need to be ready that we're sure to have everything done for Memorial Day weekend. Anybody think of anything else? We're gonna have the porta potties, and by then, security will be in place. Volunteer fundraising is taking care of the games that go on. Do we have any events, first or private events at the event center that's going on that weekend? Is anybody reserved?
Not that I know of.
Okay, so that's.
There is a shoot that.
Yes, the Gun Club Big Canyon will have their shoot. That will need to be on there. Anything else?
I would just add, Bill, maybe, and Ryan, you and I can talk about this offline, but like promoting a D&D money-making thing, I say we consider looking at giving them the option to advertise with us. Because we can't go down there and get free, vote slips and stuff like that. And likewise, if we are going to promote an event where they're going to make money and stuff like that, then I think it's fair that we ask them. It doesn't have to be much, but we can use all the money we can get. So.
Okay. Now, one thing I would like to offer up, and I agree, this is something we used to do, several years ago, and when COVID came and all of that, we've kind of gotten away from it. And that is on the Friday of the holiday weekend, board of directors used to be down there, and we kind of had 2-hour intervals that we would hand out the brochures, we would greet the people when they came through the gate. I would like to do that again. It usually starts around 4 o'clock and goes to 9. And we just greet the people who are coming in, not only landowners, but the guests, and let them know that they're welcome. If I have to do the whole shift, I do the whole shift, but if a director wants to sign up for a time slot, we used to do them in 2 hours, so it was pretty much a 4 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to whenever it started to slow down. And there were some nights that we were down there till 11, so it can be a kind of a big deal. But if anybody wants to volunteer, we usually did it in pairs. I'm just throwing it out there strictly as a volunteers for the board. So if any board member wants to jump in for a time, contact me after the meeting, and we'll work on our schedule and have that ready to go. So now I'm throwing that out there, not just as an information. Okay. So any other new business that's we want to bring before today's?
This possibly could be some. We've already touched on several of these.
Okay.
I could just go down the list. We've already discussed dwelling lot, front steps, community plus, and caliber. That's this week. Switching internet providers. I think we should think about this because just this week we had a provider go down in the neighborhood for 3 days, so they had no internet. Part of this company, Dwelling Live, will be cloud-based. So you may want to switch, we may want to switch to something more reliable, and the speeds are going to be significantly higher in the neighborhood of 10 times faster at a $20 a month increase in cost. If we do switch to Starlink, we're going to have to go to a VoIP phone service because we are currently piggybacking Yellowknife with phone service, or phone service with Yellowknife. So if we get away from Yellowknife, we'll lose our current phone provider. This comes at an upfront cost of a phone, and depending on what package you put together, can be $10 to like $30 a month. And this has a lot of office features depending on which package you go with. So I know we discussed running business out of the main office, so this is going to be 2 parts to that. Preparation for the new gate access. Our current system is utilizing a lot of data wirelessly from 2 points, from the library to the office itself. It would be in our best interest to lay Cat 5 or Cat 6 cables and directly connect from internet to our system out at the library.
Okay.
Gate doorbell, I think that can completely go away. I don't feel like this. There you go. So from the crowd, it does not work. So I think we're paying for that, I believe, not 100% certain. So that would be a reduction in cost if we are in fact paying for it. Office computers and upgrades. This has been talked about before, and this is also bleeding into Karen's area, but we may want to consider a newer computer, multiple screens, stuff like that to make business from day to day easier for the gals in there. It's a mess underneath the desk right now, and part of switching over would be cleaning all that up and making that less of a possibility of dropping out the gate or any other components being ran there. Gate maintenance and operation, we kind of already touched that, and that was what Steve had mentioned with installing the loop. As far as maintenance goes, all the parts, we have parts now for the gate mechanical side to keep us from going down and having to pin the gates open. And there's a plan in place to continue that maintenance and to reduce that downtime. So
I, for one, thank you guys greatly for doing what you did.
You're very welcome.
It's made our life easier.
And hopefully in time, we'll be so on top of it that it's not an issue.
Okay, using those items that we have up there, I strongly suggest that the directors, if you haven't watched that video that you sent, that you all look at it and go through it. It's very informative and it's what we've got to do. If you could, Ryan, send out the pros and cons, the updates and needs for the number 2, which is switching to Starlink, so that we know what the upside downsides are going to be. And same way with switching the office, we're going to wait, or we can kind of encompass the preparation for the gate access up to number 1, and we'll keep that on the hold. The doorbell, I agree. We know that their office needs to have upgrades and that, but I'm not sure if now is the time. We're trying to just looking at things. I'd like to be more specific and get down to where we know what we need and what we have to order.
And we'll find that out more as we get a hold of Elite and Dwelling together in basically one room.
Okay, so we can keep that open. As far as number 8 is concerned, I think Dave, you and Steve have got the gate maintenance as well as the maintenance of all of the other items that we need to keep track of. You guys have got that handled, so I'm ready to take that off the grocery list, unless you guys have something that.
No, the only thing I'll add to that we haven't spoken on as far as the maintenance part of it is we're going to need to be changing the batteries in there. One is operational, the other one is in a weak status now, and we need to move. And with this 3-day weekend coming up, I think we need to move and put some new batteries in those things. So that's going to be,
how much are those?
I'm guessing a couple $100 for a couple batteries, $300. Yeah.
So the labor's free, we're just.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but but we have to be able to establish this as a maintenance item. And yes, the labor is donated. God help us, we appreciate that so much, but we have to have a plan. It has to be something that if you're not here, somebody knows exactly how to follow it up, and it's not going to happen. And
We already have other people that we're gonna.
Yeah.
train, So I already have steps for that.
Yep.
Process of training. Also, to go on the data cable from the library to the office, that's gonna be volunteer too. There are people set up to do
Right.
that, along with the loop in the ground. for
Yep.
the Exit. So that's probably a very inexpensive thing.
It is, but it's also work that we have. I mean, all of the members need to know about what's going on. We've got to communicate what we're doing. It just can't be a surprise to somebody like, oh my God, I drove over something and the gate opened up. It's like, hallelujah, you know, I'm not sitting here waiting for the gate to open. And on the same token with that loop, we lose the idea of the check-in, check-out, so that when somebody comes in, it's recorded, but we don't know when they go out. However, if we go with,
Yeah, that, yeah.
well, I know, but theoretically, it's supposed to be. But with the RFI chips like that, you can easily check both in and out, because the
I
chip.
totally understand everything you're saying, just want to maybe kind of go back and say that if you do it separately, it costs more money.
Correct.
So you want to do it as a package. The same with the computer upgrades and the software. You put it on the old computer, and that computer can't handle it, then you just wasted a bunch of time and effort.
Right.
Along with money, so you should look at it as a package.
And that's what we asked Ryan to do there, is to have him make a package.
Understand.
And then-
So I wanna go back to, you probably okay to spend $300-600 if it's needed. Ryan said it was $5,000 to upfront, and $6,000. I don't know why we're wasting $3,600. To me, it's like, go for it and save some money. And the only time you need to buy anything from this whole company is just the time it takes to get it done. So,
And we are, what we did is we're relying on Ryan's suggestion. The board's just accepting it. This is his idea. He's going with it. He asked for it, so the board suggested.
so what I'm suggesting is a special meeting, if that's what it's called, that you get it done. You gotta get together as a special group, right? The board, to get it authorized.
No, no, not at this time. No, not unless we have to sign on. If they don't go with anything that Ryan wants to go in and we're out there, then yes, we have to have a meeting and we just either cut the cord or we have to pony up the, $16,000 that they want.
No, I'm talking about the board, authorizing the switch over.
Well, we're choosing we're going away from them no matter what.
Okay.
Right now, Ryan is trying to find the best possible option for us to look at.
Right.
Temporary.
We're just buying time. till we
Yeah,
get-
we're just buying it, whatever.
There are two subjects there. I'm talking about that time. I'm talking about making decisions.
That decision, we will vote on as soon as we find the option that we feel is best. And right now we have Ryan and the group, him and Rob and actually Dave, they all are trying to find the best option for us. Once that option is realized, because we can't just say we're walking away from them, that's it, we have no place to go. We have to have some place to go.
It's not going in my head. I guess I'll ask it this way. How fast can you do that? If Ryan gives you the answer tomorrow, how fast can you vote on it and get it going?
We can vote on it that very day.
Perfect. That's what I want.
That doesn't matter. I mean, we don't have to have a special meeting. We can, as long as it's unanimous, we can do an email vote and do it that way.
Perfect.
So
I just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's not slow. He can get it done quick.
Now it's in the hands of another person, so I can only go as fast as they go.
I want to throw one more thing out on this gate thing is, people seem to rely on these license plate reader. They're coming up to the gate, they have no card, they have no code, and they're stuck there. My advice to them would be, have your card with you, make sure you have a code. Don't drive all the way out here. We are still working through this process to get this thing to function correctly. So be sure you have your code or a card.
We tell them that all the time.
Yeah. Card.
Okay.
You need the card.
And isn't it true that the license plates, if the numbers aren't raised, if it's the flat ones that they especially, it doesn't read those?
I don't know.
I know that it will not read the Oregon Duck plates.
It's part of the problem. And the new system will no longer open the gate with license plates. And that's part of the understanding is that there's a failure rate in utilizing that information. So we'll keep the reader as far as like informational purposes and security purposes, but it will no longer be the primary means of opening and closing the gate because it's industry standard. That failure rate is known.
Yeah.
Yes.
It sees, the camera sees the license plate. When it comes to us, it's all scrambled.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we have that. You'll get us that information. Anything else that anybody can think of?
One last thing, sorry, I forgot to mention it, would be if we do switch to Dwelling Live Front Steps Community, we will have to go with an email provider because we're currently running that through our current host. So
You'll be able to put that on the list.
yes, I will. I actually have already started that. So yeah, well, I'll put it all together for you.
So, from the directors who are zooming in, is there anything that anybody comments?
Yes,
Suggest?
I have one
Yes,
brief
sir.
one, because we're kind of scrambling for cash here, looking at all the corners. What's the status of the plow truck that we were going to dispose of? And can we get that going so that we can fill our piggy bank up a little bit for some of these things?
That's a great question. I know Ed was working on that, and I know that there was at least something had started, but what I can do, I'll follow up on that this week and we'll find out if we've got a value. I know he wanted to sell it or was going to try to sell it within the membership. I think there was somebody, a landowner that wanted to buy it. But I mean, we could put that on Facebook Marketplace with the information, because and all of the attachments that go with it, and we can do that. So let me do that. And I have I'm a licensed dealer in the state of Oregon, so I can operate that and I can make that sale and we can move that on. So we can do everything. So I'll look into that this week and then I'll get back. That's a great, I mean, we may only get 5,000 or 6,000, but hey, that pays for quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah, and I know there was some discussion, and I certainly appreciate it about trying to restrict the maybe restrict the sale to inside the gate, but I don't think we have that privilege. I think we need to maximize the value of that thing. And I don't know if that's putting it on Craigslist or Marketplace or whatever, but if we can make more money selling that thing outside the gate, we need all the money we can get.
Good point. Fair point. Yeah, well, I'll keep you updated on what I find out and what we've got to do before we list it. And because I have the title for it now, I was able to get that. So that's here in the office. So we can make that sale happen right away. Good point. Anything else? Karen, Rob, anything?
Nope, I'm good.
No, I have nothing.
Okay, then hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at 11:37.
Bill, this is Linda.
Yes.
I have just a couple of questions.
Okay.
I don't recall hearing a motion to accept consent and committee reports.
Yes, we did that just before public testimony.
Okay, sorry, I missed that. And then
That's okay.
the selling of the plow, did the board already vote unanimously in a previous meeting to sell that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
I'll make that.
I love this so much.
Yeah.
Dave made a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Ryan seconded. Call discussion. Hearing none, we'll call for a vote.
Tom,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Morgan.
Yes.
I'm a yes.
All right, thank you, everybody. We'll look forward to seeing you on October.